Growing up in New Orleans and by extension going to Baton Rouge, LSU for school, I'm still in that Louisiana culture where we just enjoy life. We try to have as much fun as possible at all times. And so that's kind of how I live my life right now. I love having fun. I love to laugh. I love to just enjoy who's around me. I love to get to know folks. And that's how I teach. I teach how I live. I think that would be a good term. I think if I would call my roommate anything, it is controlled chaos, because there are times it can get a little chaotic, yes, but I know what's going on in the chaos. I kind of like the chaos. New Orleans is a little bit of chaos, and I try to have as much fun in my classroom as possible, just so that we can get them laughing. Because if we can get them laughing and talking and energized, I think that's where learning can happen and they can appreciate learning better.
Dr. Haynes' classroom has never been overly serious. It's always been a really chill, relaxed environment. I remember all the math posters being up. He has pictures of his wife and his kids up.
Got the Saints logo and he's got LSU, but he's also got Ninja Turtles. It definitely gives it a different vibe.
COVID tested all of us. But Brandon always rose to that challenge and was a person who I deeply appreciated. Brandon has a way of finding fun in situations that can be challenging. B. Haynes and the Herminator was a live radio show / podcast that Brandon and Tom Herman would do with students in the 8th grade at Whitfield.
Brandon and I said, hey, this is a good time to just talk sports. And then we decided, okay, why don't we throw in since the 6th graders were writing poetry, we'd have commercial breaks with poems by 6th graders. It sounds very silly, but that sportscast did a lot to kind of help us get back into the swing of things and take ourselves less seriously during a pretty serious time.
I enjoyed B. Haynes and the Herminator. I hope it's still happening. And if it's not, Brandon, you have work to do.
Math definitely wasn't boring. I actually found myself liking math class when I had Dr. Haynes. But I do remember this one project that me and my friends, we still joke about today. We came up with a math rap. Everybody get out your pencils. It can get a little crazy with all these exponent rules. I don't remember it, but that's all I remember. I remember the first part because that was my part to sing.
This is a game that you play of math. This is how you figure out problems, but you're figuring out life. They're going to be doing calculations for the rest of their lives. It may not be on paper. You may not use variables like X and Y and this, that, and the other, but you're still making the calculations. And the example I use all the time, when your parents are bringing you to school and you're a little bit late, your parents are calculating how fast do I need to go to get you to school on time and to avoid a ticket or avoid an accident. That's math. All the calculations we do in life are math. Who we're gonna marry, who we're gonna love, where we're gonna live. That's all a calculation where you're taking inputs and creating an output. So that's why I say math is life.
The best is walking in his classroom and seeing his pictures of his daughters and asking how they're doing and seeing his face light up and the smile, or sometimes a smile with the head like this because he's exhausted. Brandon, the dad, I think makes Brandon the better math teacher, and hopefully Brandon, the math teacher, enables him to be a better dad.
What I do as a teacher now, I treat the kids like they're mine. Because they are. They're, hold on a second. I get a little emotional sometimes. I love my girls. And this is part of me too. I'm an emotional dude. This is New Orleans. I'm an emotional guy. But especially when I talk about my kids. Those little girls are great. They're 6 and 4. And I love them to death. And so for me to be able to extend that love to other kids, it's the greatest thing in the world.
He's even kept quiet with me, his dancing ability. So that's something maybe not everybody knows.
So basically it's a bunch of dudes, a group of guys in New Orleans who started dancing for Mardi Gras parades post-Katrina.
And some of the stompers are more talented than others. Definitely saw those videos and love the video of Brandon because it was great to see him on the more talented side of that threshold.
We want to look good for as good as, middle-aged men with beer guts can be. There's a intro part where you're going like this, and you clap and you go here, and you clap and you do a little shimmy. And then you go into the fish moves. Now I'm getting back into it, right? And you do a little Russian dance. You probably can't see my feet. And at the end, you kind of kick it here. That's me. Doesn't seem like me, but that's me. I want to be dancing in the streets of New Orleans, making folks happy.
I got a text message from him, and he said, I did it. And he's like, my face is going to be on the wall, which is something he's talked about since he began. He's like, I really want to be one of the pictures on that wall. I want to be Teacher of the Year. And it wasn't out of vanity, but it was out of what the other faces on that wall have meant to the institution and how he wanted to position himself among those ranks.
Having my colleagues recognize the work and the effort that I was putting in last year, and I put in all these years, was tremendous. But hearing those cheers from those kids and really got to me. It really was like, oh, okay, you all see me. You all see what I've been trying to do. That's it. That was the world.
It wasn't just the way he taught. It was the way that he was very supportive in the way he taught. And I think that also pushed me towards having some of the best math grades in my life.
Certainly has a heart for those who are struggling more. I'm impressed with all the time he'll drop what he's doing if a student comes for help. Like, wow, you just jump right into that.
It feels as if he's found a way to make the Whitfield community part of his extended family, which is just such a gift for Whitfield, but also shows how much he cares about Whitfield. And it was great for Brandon to get the Teacher of the Year award because I believe it enabled Brandon to see how much Whitfield cared about him.
Because my dad was a teacher who had passed away 5-6 years ago now. And saw how he was also appreciated by a lot of his students who would come back in their 20s, 30s, and they knew him. We'd go around and oh, that's Mr. Haynes. I kind of want that same thing. I want to see kids down the road and be they still know who I am and what I did for them.